Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to the workshop. Well, the part of it I normally hide. This is my shite area. This is where shite gets put that I don't have use for at any particular moment, but I do need this shite. So, we're going to spend a bit of time this week on some workshop infrastructure, get this area usable, so I can keep the place a bit tidier and have less work to do. So, let's roll the intro. Being Irish and shite being so commonplace, oh by the way, make one yourself, they're great. I have absolutely no idea if that's going to get in trouble for monetization, but my videos don't get monetized anyway. So, this area needs to be dealt with. First thing I'll do is remove all the clamps. We'll look at some clamp storage, get all this stuff out of here. I also want to build storage for all my cans of various lubricants and spray paints and that kind of stuff. Hopefully I'll also be able to build in some storage for my paints, which are currently in this bucket. So, let's get to a removing stuff montage, shall we? Well, that looks much better from this carefully chosen angle. Still don't look great. Just don't look over there. So, let's start working on a design. What we're going to do here. How we're going to make use of this space. One thing I do know I'm going to do is here. I have a couple of drawer runners. So I'm actually going to build myself a little drawer box here that will pull out. And either side of that drawer box I'll be able to I'll have within that drawer box I'll have division, so either side I'll be able to have cans of spray and lubricants, that kind of stuff, and finishes, that kind of malarkey. In here then I need to work out what I want to keep. They're not here, but I definitely want to make at least half of this a sharpening station, because originally that's what this is meant to be. So I will have my dry grinder here, and hopefully we'll build an area in for my sharpening. I also want to use this if I can for my metal vise. The second half then, if at all possible, I'm going to try dedicate to finish storage like paints and that kind of stuff that I have. And then on the door of that, the side of that, I'll use that for hanging stuff, like things I would have had across the back here. So I'm going to go away, do a little bit of thinking, and when I have a full plan, I'll come back to you and we'll start making. So, time has passed, thinking has happened, so that's swearing. But I finally came up with a design. I have all my pieces right here. So I'll start assembling, and when it comes together you'll see what I'm doing. So let's get into it. So what I've done here to start is I've made two separate boxes. One is slightly smaller than the other. The slightly wider bottom box I'm going to use for items that I use a lot, so my glues, my oils, all of that, they're going to go in there. And then above it we're going to have a box where I'll put all my finishes, cans of spray paint and such, and other finishes. So what I want to do now is I want to put a divider in this box, try to keep these things organised. So let's bring it down. First thing I want to do is I want to cut down this divider, and I've shown this tip before, but we want to get something internal, line it up with where it's going, turn my hand so you can see it, and make a mark, and then slowly cut, leave that a little bit of pencil line. Then you can trim it till you get the perfect fit. So I'm just going to drop over to the saw. We'll see how this fits. I'll have a scooch of that line, and it's just, look at that, pushing its sides a little bit. I like that. We're not going to do anything big or clever here. I'm just going to put the biggest thing that's going to fit in this side in. Ow! Close it on my hand. Tap that into place and adjust it until it fits everywhere. Double check that the stuff I want to fit on this side will fit in this side. Bippity boppity, alakazoola. That's perfect. Make sure that's straight where I want it. Show a few nails into it. Mark center line on this. Strike that down so I can have somewhere to know where to nail. Do the same here. Again, this is all I'd. This is fast workshop work. Now shoot a couple of pins. Haven't come through so far. No camera cuts, no blowouts. It is well worth taking the time, no matter how good your eye is. So that's just how I want it, nice and tight. I can put in my adhesives, my lacquer, my contact, my WD, my spray cleaner. You can get these out of here. The second one is very simple, much simpler. This is going in the center because I'll just be putting spray cans either side. Everything's going to be the same width. Now, as handy as these are just on their own to make everything a bit more tidy, you could stop here and just have these somewhere in your workshop. Everything's nice and tidy. But I want to make them easily accessible, easily put awayable, and, well, just a bit more interesting. So we're going to mount this above this and put them on runners so they slide in and out. They're out of the way, and all that dust as they lean over to look at you doesn't get on into everything. So let's start working on that. So the pins I'm using here are very short. This is just to temporarily hold these shelves in place, just so I can work out if everything will fit, if I have to move them from the positions I've worked out. And when I'm happy with everything, then I'll finalize it all by screwing it together, which should give me a nice strong box, hopefully. So I want this to look as nice as I can. So for the front here, I'm just going to temporarily tack it with a few nails. And then I'm just going to use inch angle brackets here to affix it, which gives a nice strong joint. Again, it's well fixed to the two drawers when the screws go in. And from the front then it'll look pretty good. Again, this is for the workshop, so aesthetics are not my main interest, but it'll look better than the load of screws sticking into it. So before I put in the screws and finalize the position of the drawer boxes, I just quickly check that everything goes in and that I can easily remove stuff, that kind of thing. Because at this point I could move the boxes up or down if I wanted. They're only held in by those tiny pins, easy enough to pop it apart, enough to raise or lower them. I'm happy with this layout, so I just go ahead and stick a few screws in and we're good to go.
So in order to keep the dust out of all of these things and also give me some additional hanging space, I'm going to put a sign on this. It's very simple. I just use a few long brad nails to pin this on to what I've made. It also helps keep the whole thing square and together. And then we're ready to apply our runners and the handle, and we're done. I'm just using run-of-the-mill ball bearing runners here. There were a few I had around the workshop. I put one top and bottom to run everything. Now taking them out is a little tricky, but with a pick I can easily grab the little black plastic thing that allows you to remove the runners. Two little tricks here. First, on the bottom where it is hard to mark and see a pencil line, I've laid down some masking tape, marked out the position of my bottom runner. That allows me to screw it in place and have it in alignment, and then I can take the masking tape away. On the top, to fight gravity, what I've done is I've applied some double-sided tape to my runner and pushed it into position where the mark is. This is enough pressure to temporarily hold it, so I can hold it with very little weight and easily put in my screws. Now to create a handle, and for the handle I'm going very simple again. I just have a scrap of oak here that I'm going to run through my table saw twice to create a sort of a dovetail shape, and then do the exact same, cut off both ends at that same angle, end up with this nice easy to hold handle. And this was a hard one to get a good shot of, but I just screwed the handle in from the back with a couple of screws. Because it's oak, I pre-wore, but it's good and strong, and I'm happy with it. Feels good in the hand, can't complain. And what would one of my videos be without a little bit of Danish Oil Time? Right, so that's now homemade for all the stuff that I just had at the front here. My glues, my oils, my spray cans. But I still haven't found the top of this bench. So, you'll have to join me next week when I continue on this project of making this area as efficient as possible and decluttering my workshop. So, as always, thank you for staying to the end of the video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And absolutely do. If I can find it, try this at home.